alive somewhere, Mr. Jason Gowin.
I'm in that. What was the Ryan Reynolds movie where he was underground in the sequel?
He's underground in the Ryan Reynolds.
Buried.
He's buried alive. It's called Buried, I think, right? Yeah. That's so funny. Well, guys, we haven't done a Parents Lounge show in a long time because we're parents. I have a 10-year-old and a 12-year-old, and it's been arduous. But since the holidays just ended for us, my kids went back to school like 2 days ago. Jason and I were catching up, and we were like, you know what we should do? We should go live, baby. We should go live and see what happens and bring some people in. And who cares? And just catch up. Dude, it's 2026. The world
You're a
is
little more famous than the last time I saw you.
I'm a little more. I'm a 30-year overnight success. Yeah, it's really
all coming together.
It's all clicking, baby. For those of you who don't know, I have there was a viral video, I guess, that went around that I did a neighborhood takeaway. Just some.
It's still going around. You come through my feed, and like I know you, but like it comes through my feed like regularly.
Yeah,
and other people are sharing it.
Yeah, 20 million views on Instagram, and 6 million.
Is it what it is now? 20 million.
Yeah, it was 20 million. So anyway, everybody, we're going to be here for like an hour. Bill Engvall's coming in. We're going to chat. We're going to tell some jokes. We're going to talk about kids. So if you have a chance, go grab a glass of wine or something. It's a Thursday night, and let's get some stuff off our chest, man. Honestly, everything's been pretty good. We got a new puppy. Does anyone? And honestly, here's the other thing about comments. Please ask questions. We got a lot of stuff.
Narcolepsy!
Oh, narcolepsy's back.
Brandon's here. What's up? The crew's back.
We're getting the band back together. It's the guy from that video. Dude, let me ask you, Narcolepsy. I mean, were you like, holy crap, that's Kaler? Because people from high school were reaching out. It was nuts. Yeah. You just never know.
When you shot the video, what did you think was going to happen with it? Did you expect this?
Absolutely nothing. It's so crazy. We were going out for a holiday party, and I was working on my stand-up because I have a bunch of shows coming out. I'm in Palm Springs this weekend. I'm going to do Nate Bargatze's Nate Land in February. So I've been writing stand-up, and I had kind of this idea for this just parody of what's going on in the world. I sat down, I wrote it in 3 minutes, shot it in one take, blasted it, and I got up in the morning and it had 15 million views. It was cuckoo. It was so crazy. I was like, I'm sorry, what? You just never know, man. But everyone who's reached out, it was always like, dude, this is what you do. You've always just, we're comics and we do little comedic bits, and that one, you never know what's going to hit. So it is.
And we've had other viral stars be on here, and they all say the same thing. You don't expect the video that hits to be the one that hits.
Exactly. We do have a guest tonight, and he's he's one of my oldest friends, and he was really kind of a mentor to me, who I opened for on the road, and he kind of taught me a thing or two about comedy, and he's one of the all-time greats. So we were so excited that he's coming to do it tonight, which is kind of a cool. I think he's in there. I can't see in the thing, but
he has not turned his camera on. Would that make him my grand mentor?
He doesn't have his camera on. Bill, you got to turn your camera on before we bring you in. Well, we don't have to. You can just be audio, Bill,
just
I guess.
Voice. Yeah.
If you don't know how to use your camera on your computer, here's your sign. I think is how the joke would.
Yeah. He was the here's sign. The other one was you might be a redneck.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we have to wait till we see him. First time watching this show, Jerry.
Jerry, welcome.
About time. Do you know Jerry?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. You felt like you knew him.
Well, I want to be very welcoming. We've got a lot of new people hanging out here tonight. So like I want to be very welcoming. I want people to know. Randall from TikTok did pop over. He's here now.
Hey, Randall! Dude, please, you got to give me a tech class later. I'm so glad you made it over. Hey, listen, the show is called The Parents Lounge. We've actually been doing this for a few years, and we do live shows.
Year 6.
We were just in Pennsylvania. We sold out a theater for the weekend, but we have kids, so it was always like this kind of crazy side thing. We used to do it a lot every week, and kind of life took over. But all of a sudden, 2026 kind of blasted in here, and we were like, you know what? Let's reboot the franchise. And so we are here. And it was the Parents Lounge was built as a respite for parents. And to go like it takes a village, because even the other night something happened with my daughter. My wife and her got into a huge fight, and my wife's like literally like, she needs mental help. I go, you know what? She doesn't. She's 12 years old and she's turning 13. And everyone I've ever talked to is like, yeah, 13-year-olds are terrible. You want to like,
I believe that actually is the cause, that they're 13-year-old. That's what's causing the insanity.
Yeah, it's basically just that's why 13 is bad luck, and she's the thing. Zootopia was amazing, he says. All right, listen, let's bring this gentleman in, and then maybe we'll try to fix his camera. I mean, he really doesn't need much of an intro. He's one of my favorite people on earth. He's a good friend, and he's one of the funniest people I know. And honestly, out of all of our guests, I will say that this gentleman gives the best advice about being a parent.
Without question.
Grandfather, married for quite a few years, and he's a super good guy. Please welcome Mr. Bill Engvall.
Hey,
Bill,
hey, there he is.
We can't see you.
Dude, I'm hitting every camera button on this dumb computer.
This is honestly, it's if the whole show is you trying to get the camera on, I can't think of a better way to spend an hour. I mean, for me.
Okay, so this is why I swear, if there's an apocalypse and you have to know computers, I'm just going to kiss my family goodbye, because this is just it shows where I should be.
People in the audience are giving you notes. They are like possibly permission settings.
Now it's black. Now it's crossed out. So that's good. So there.
What would be really funny? It would be really funny if it wasn't really Bill Engvall, it was just a Bill Engvall impersonator.
It's an AI Bill.
It's an AI Bill. And we just made this a
You know what? Even an AI Bill would be just out of his mind with this. I don't know why. I shows where I should be, and I see this little logo, and then there's a camera with a slash through it.
Yeah, no, we see that. That's what we see. It looks like, honestly, a shuriken, a Japanese throwing star. Like a weapon of mass destruction, right? That he's throwing over there.
Hang on,
Please. Well, honestly, this is. Can you feel
this? Freddie said it best in the comments. This is peak TPL. I mean, this is the show. I mean, this is what.
Hey! You know what it felt like? It felt like one of those videos, like every video on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok, where the person is always like, "You gotta wait till the end. Wait till you see what happens at the end." And then there's like 3 minutes of absolute garbage and nothing happens. And you're like, I don't know.
Bill,
so I got to say, congratulations on being the first person I've ever met that had 15 million views on something. I don't know what you did. I don't know how you did it. Gail saw it.
By the way, Bill, I'm sorry to say, but it's 20 million.
20 million.
On Instagram, 6 more million on TikTok. Dude, listen, we can talk about it. First of all, you have a light over your head like you are the second coming of Jesus.
I don't know where it is. Oh, I know where it is. Hang on.
By the way, for a guy who had a show with his name in the title, for a guy who had a show called The Bill Engvall Show, I would think you would know a little more about lighting. But what do I know?
I wasn't in charge of anything like that.
No, honestly, you're like, I'm on air, brother. I don't know.
Okay. Does that make you happier?
Yes, I like it. Yes.
You look great, by the way. You look
healthy. By the way, you're looking good, man.
By the way, you guys are missing probably one of the greatest playoff football games.
I know. I had it on the side, but
Ole Miss is ahead now.
Is it going? 3. That's funny, man.
Yeah. Anyway,
it's been a hot minute. How you been, man?
I've been good. I've been doing real good. Got back out. We haven't talked. Have we talked since I retired?
You were on the show once after.
Okay.
Now Bill retired, and now Bill's back out again.
I'm back out full time now. I couldn't handle it, and I missed it. I didn't realize how much I missed it, but I missed it. Just the audience and there's parts of it that still suck. The road is a road. It's never going to change. But it's fun. I've been been writing new stuff, trying to get it together. Problem is Jamie can vouch for this. You write this great bit, but you got to go try it out somewhere. And fortunately or unfortunately, I'm at that stage where, like, I feel like I should do all new material, but then I think about if you and I were going to go to see Aerosmith, neither one of us on the way over is going to say, God, I hope they play all new stuff. So I've kind of gotten back into the swing of it. Things are starting to kind of, the wheels are starting to turn again, and everything's great. I got no complaints.
It's so not fair for comics, really, because, bands go out and they play the greatest hits. I just saw Oasis, great show, greatest hits. No, they weren't like, here's a new song we're trying to work out. It was nothing.
Right.
But if you go to do a show, if you do all old stuff, people go, oh, man, I've seen that before. And if you don't do the old stuff, they go, hey, man, where's the old stuff?
Like exactly.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what? If that's the biggest problem I got, whatever.
I know. I'm glad you're back out, dude. When you were retiring, I knew. Here's the deal, is because, it's funny, even that crazy video that went viral, we were talking about earlier, and people like, I feel like we're artists, and I don't want to be pretentious in any way, but I have a need to put my funny out into the world. Right. I wrote that in 3 minutes, shot it in one take before we went to a party, half a block away. And I just blasted it out. And that's the thing that goes. But when I shot it, and I was like, it's okay. Other things I think are fantastic bomb. You just don't know. But
that's, that kind of dovetails into is that people ask me, like, sometimes I'll get young comedians asking me, how do you write a catchphrase? Like, here's your sign, or you might be a redneck. You don't. You just do your bit. The audience, I would have thought that people would have hooked more into Dorkfish than here's your sign, which was probably one of my favorite albums, was the second one, the Dorkfish album. But you don't know what people are going to hook into. And that's why I tell people to also, on the flip side of that coin, you better be careful what you put out there, because it ain't always getting 20 million. You may get 20 million views, but if you pissed off 20 million people, that can affect your career.
I might have been with you. Actually, I might have been with Larry. I'm not sure, but I did a show in Colorado, and we go, there's a afternoon event or something, and I go, and Quiet Riot is playing like a park with picnic tables, and nobody's watching. They're basically screaming, play, come on, feel the noise, which that Quiet Riot, it's not even their song. They didn't want to record it. They were kind of forced to. It's a cover by Slade. It's a Scottish band. And the producer said, you need to cover this song. They cover Come On, Feel the Noise. It's the only song anyone knows them for. So the whole show, this is like 2 p.m. The band is out there. He's in like black leather. No one's watching. They're screaming at him. And finally, he almost at the end goes, you mother blankers, here's your stupid song. And they close with Come On, Feel the Noise. And I just like watched him, and I was like, man, because you're so right. You get caught. It's like I talked about Pee Wee Herman, or people who get known. You don't want to be known as like Screech from Dustin, Dustin Diamond. You're locked in, brother.
Yeah, it's a fine line we walk as entertainers, and it's a high wire act without a net. I always tell people, because I wish I could tell you how many nights I wanted to turn to a band and go, this one's for us, But as comedians, we're out there by ourselves, and it's interesting. Like, if we go see a band, if we all went and saw a band and they played one song we didn't like, we don't walk out. But as a comedian, if you do a joke that somebody doesn't like, they don't like you, they don't like the way you live your life. They don't, it's a hard business. And whether it's naivety or stupidity, I love it. But back to the original thing of getting back onto the road is that, you got, with this new, I keep looking at with the new stuff I've been trying to put in, but like I say, I don't have a place to go. I mean, I have a place I can go work it out, but it's not the same because when you're paying $40-$50 a ticket, you want to know that they got their stuff together. That they're not going to.
At your level, you got to sneak up. I remember headlining Gotham Comedy Club on a Sunday night. They called me in the afternoon. They said, "Hey, are you okay with Jerry Seinfeld wants to come and run 20?" And I was like, "Yes, please." It was like one of my heroes. And so it wasn't announced. Small crowd, like a Sunday night show, like 100 people maybe in the Gotham. And Jerry Seinfeld came in. He did exactly 20. He was trying out material. It was very polished, but he was definitely trying stuff. He was like, "Thank you very much," and he left. And the crowd was like, and I had to go up after and do like a lining set. And the first 10 minutes, I just talked about the fact that I was like, that dude's the reason I got into comedy. Like, he's one of my legend heroes. And it was great and epic. Also,
well,
Amy,
I think you did just the right thing by acknowledging. Like, I remember one time I was in Nashville and I was hosting the AIBA Awards, which, for those who don't know, it's the International Entertainment Booking Association or whatever, something like that. And they were given, so I get to the banquet room that they're having this in. And the guy goes, "Look, we're giving Johnny Cash the Lifetime Achievement Awards. And he'll come up and say a few words, and then you go up." And I'm like, I got to follow Johnny Cash. And so Johnny went up and he did his stuff. And they said, "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Bill Engvall." And my opening line was, "Oh my God, I just got here and they told me I'm following Johnny Cash." I go, "Who's next? Jesus?"
That's so good. And you
have to acknowledge that moment of like, okay, I know what you're thinking and you know what I'm thinking. But it was funny to talk about Seinfeld. When I was the house MC at the Comedy Corner in Dallas, Texas, way back in the 80s, Monday nights was open mic night. And I was, at that point in my life, I was kind of the manager and also the day manager and also the MC for the shows. Well, Monday nights I was off. So Gail and I are lying in bed and the manager, the owner of the club, called me and said, "You got to get down here right now." And I said, "I'm in bed." And she said, "You just got it. Trust me, you got to get down here." So I go down there, and it was a Sunday night show. There was like 40 people in the audience, and Robin Williams had just done a concert at the Dallas Music Hall. And he proceeded to do 45 to an hour after the regular show for just that many people.
Yeah.
And then the owner looked at me and said, "Can you drive him to his hotel?" So as a young comedian, I sat and Gail was in the car with me. For 45 minutes, driving him back to the hotel from where the club was, I got to sit there and talk comedy with Robin Williams, who at that time was in my top 3.
Yeah.
Steve Martin, which I have never met, but it is people that have met. John, to be able to talk, I told my friend it was like you sitting in your car talking to Al Unser, or some race car giant, and it was great. It made me realize that it was what I wanted to do, and the fact that he came up. The show was an hour and a half long before he came on, and not one person left. And this was early cell phone days, so it wasn't like people were like grabbing their phones, going, "Get down here, Robin Williams is doing a show." So it was just kind of like a private little gig, and it was great. And that's one of the great things about this business that affords you something. Jamie, I know you guys have had this. We get to do stuff that other people don't get to do.
Sure.
And B, that you crave to do. Whether it's flying with the Thunderbirds or whether it's, riding with Robin Williams.
You mean going to having a private tour with Jack Hanna at the Columbus Zoo?
Jack Hanna.
One of my favorite stories.
Which I was opening for you in Columbus, and all of a sudden Jack Hanna comes backstage. He's like, "Hey, well, you guys want to do? You want a little tour tomorrow?" I was like, "Yeah." And you're like, "You were so cool about it. Sounds cool."
You probably remember both these incidents. One, we were walking back behind the gorilla cages, and this silverback gorilla hit a metal door so hard, Jamie and I both pooped a little bit, I think.
Not a little. I blasted myself.
It was, that door bent. I thought, and then if that wasn't enough, he takes us inside this pen where he's going to let a cheetah loose. and we're standing there, and there's nothing in this pen. Except there was a mound of grass. And all of a sudden this thing pops its head up over that thing. And Jamie was the one that first was kind of freaking out because I knew Jack would be cool with it. But Jamie, and then the thing he does this walk, and he's like walking right at us. And I keep seeing Jamie backing up at each step that the cheetah took. And then he did like this little move, and the cheetah jumped up on the picnic table. And he goes, "You guys can pet him if you want." And he goes, "And by the way, Jamie goes, he could take our face off like with one swipe." And Jack was like, "Yeah, he could, but he won't." But you remember walking around with Jack, and it was like, look, there's Jack Hanna. Look, there's Jack Hanna. I mean, people just like knew him, and he took the time to say hi to people. And it was just,
he did keep moving though.
We did keep moving. I learned that from
Bill, I've told these stories so many times because honestly, it was a seminal point of like the road. And it was all because of your show that I was a +1, but I was like,
yeah, we were on a bus. Remember we had the bus.
Yeah. And we petted the cheetah.
Yeah.
And you see him on TV and you go, man, it's just like a lion. You go, lion, cheetah. Yeah. And then I had no idea how big it was. As I was petting it, like my head would have fit into his. They were huge. I was kind of shocked how big it was.
I was shocked that he put us in the cage with him.
The gorilla. We walk in behind the gorilla cage, and do you remember there was a line painted on the floor?
Yes, where he said, "Don't go."
He's got that mumbly talk. He's like, "You don't step over the line." And we were both like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "You don't step over the line." And we're like, "What do you mean?" If you get too close to the cage, the gorilla will reach through the bars and pull your body through the bars.
Yeah. I mean, you always see those TikTok videos of that kind of stuff happening.
Yeah. And we were like, well, my body doesn't fit through the bars. He goes, it will. It will. And we both were like standing there, and the gorilla kind of looked across the cage. And the cage, he was probably, 25 feet away from us? It was pretty far.
Yeah.
And he cleared that distance in one leap.
Yeah.
It was the most terrifying thing I've ever, honestly, Bill. Yeah, I definitely shat myself. No two ways about it.
But that's that's one of the beauties of this business is getting able to have those opportunities to do stuff that you just never would have guessed. I mean, like I don't know if I've taught you the last time I taught you if we've done this yet, but Gail and I went to Tonga and swam with humpback whales. Like,
no, I haven't heard this one.
Okay, so it was Gail's dream to swim with whales, and we tried 3 or 4 times to make this trip happen. COVID hit, and then they had an underwater volcano, and it kept getting pushed back. So we finally get a go, and the guy says, "Okay, here's your mask and your fins," and because I thought we were going to dive. What they do is they find where the whales are splashing around, and you drive this boat. They can only get like within 15 yards of them, and then you have to swim. And literally, I am not kidding you. I had a baby rub up against me, and this baby, by the way, was probably 10 feet long, and the mother is literally like 3 feet past her at about 50 feet long, and I could see her watching me. Yeah. But the thing that was funniest is I got this camera, and I was trying. This is another thing. Like Bill buys a camera he doesn't know how to use, but takes it out the next day into the ocean, and wants to film, a once in a lifetime trip to get whales. Why not? So I'm filming, and as you're snorkeling, when you snorkel, you're looking straight down, and out of this azure blue water, this behemoth whale just rises up, and I have a video, and you can see the whale, and I see it. Somehow I caught it where Gail was on the surface and the whale was coming up, and you hear underwater Gail going whoo whoo whoo. It's not like what are you talking to the whale? But it was like it was a life-changing. These things are just so massive, and they're just so prehistoric. And it was like, there's your bit. There's the tag at the end is to pull the golf ball out of the hole and go. Oh, yeah.
The sea was angry that day, Jerry.
But you know what? This is such a great business, and
Yeah,
and,
dude. No way. No
I
doubt.
don't want to sound all negative, but any comic out there who's got a family will tell you that it's also the hardest job in the world, because even when everything's going good at home, and you're in the hotel, you're back of your mind thinking, wonder what the kids are doing, and it takes years off of you, and it's funny because I'm sure your girls will be just the same way. At one point, my kids, I think they were all in their late teens, early 20s, and we were having Thanksgiving dinner, and I just really felt like I needed to address this. And I just said, I looked at the kids and I said, you know what? I really am sorry for the soccer games I missed, for the, water polo games, the whatever. And this is when I knew Gail had done a great job raising the kids. Was they both just looked at me and said, hey, it was your job.
Yeah.
And because the kids are a lot smarter than we give them credit for.
Well, there was also a reason those kids grew up in a very beautiful home.
Well, they
lived a very privileged life. I did
so have other people, and they end up shooting or stabbing their parents. So
I stopped doing the road because I'm at a soccer tournament all this weekend. And I'm at a basketball practice tomorrow. I was at a soccer practice last night, and I have a 10-year-old, Bill.
By the way, I meant to tell you, I did see. I watched some of the videos, and your girls they were always pretty, but they've just really grown into beautiful.
Oh, you're so kind.
And
that's the only reason I haven't sold them overseas, because the 13-year-old especially, she's 12, but she's a handful. It's a joke in my act now. She's becoming my act because I was like, I was so pissed at her. I go, you go to your room. And she goes, no, you go to your room.
Oh yeah. See that?
And I was like,
my dad, that wouldn't have flushed. I can't even imagine me saying that to my dad.
No, me neither. But she knows. I think she even was like, yeah, go ahead, hit me. I'll call social services. I'm like, dude, I can't.
That is the go-to move now. They say that like our oldest has pulled that bullshit a few times.
I had my son one time. In fact, I think I put this on an album. That one day he said something, and I did something. He goes, I'm going to call social services. And I handed him a quarter. I said, here's one to call an ambulance too.
Actually, because you're going to the hospital first.
Yeah, one of us is not going to make it out of this.
Anytime my wife and I have a fight, sometimes it's like my daughter almost kind of creates the fight. Like even last night, my wife was like, bedtime's 8:30, and then I heard from downstairs. I heard my daughter go, "Dad said it was 9," and my wife, I heard her go, "What did he say?" And I had to yell down. I go, "She's lying! I never said 9. I never said 9." And then we were talking, sometimes it's like she's like, well, if you guys do get divorced, we were asking her like, would you be okay or something? And then she was like, well, I'll get a cat because I'm allergic to cats. And so I feel like she's trying to break us up specifically so she can get a cat. That's her ulterior motive, is to break up her parents so she can live with the mother and get a cat.
By the way, buzzkill, Miami won in the last seconds of the game.
Oh! Is that bad? You're not an Ole Miss guy. You're Texas.
No, I'm Texas. My guys have been out for a while.
Next year, though, Arch Manning, they're saying.
Yeah, listen, that poor kid. God,
how would you like to live?
How do you perform? I mean, he got better at the end, but how do you perform with that kind of they're saying he's the Heisman leader. He hadn't even taken a snap.
It's like Julian Lennon. When Julian Lennon put out an album, people are like, yeah, good luck with that, Julian.
Yeah. It's the name doesn't make you have the talent. I can tell you that.
Well, Bill, let's talk about what you're talking about now in your act, because what's funny is I'm the same dude. We used to be up 6 nights a week, and I could polish a bit over a week or two and just fine tune it. And now I almost have to write it like a monologue.
Well, that's what I was just looking at. Like one of the things that I've written is, and it's actually kind of a cause that I've taken on now, that people that are my age and older, there's a disease that takes out about 50% of us every year. And it's not lethal, but it's very debilitating and it's very addictive. and that disease is called pickleball.
It's not even a question.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I said, at this point in your life, is there anybody who doesn't know someone who had a pickleball injury? I said, I had a friend of mine an orthopedic doctor, who built a $7 million pickleball facility and paid it off in 3 days.
That's funny. It's like,
but what I'm trying to find is stuff that, and by the way, I don't know if you know this. I got to get my notes here because I got facts that Ken Burns, the big documentary guy, once pitched an idea to do a documentary on pickleball, but PBS asked if he could do something less gruesome and with fewer casualties, so he did the Civil War.
By the way, the American Revolution one is phenomenal. It's phenomenal. It just came out.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, right now, my life and my wife's life is we have like the last people on earth that have started watching Stranger Things, and totally such a bizarre show, but I can't stop watching it.
It's good.
This is my TV these days. Stranger Things, Fallout, and what was that other thing? Well, I loved Murders in the Building. That was our other one.
That's a great.
Oh, and Landman. I can't forget Landman.
Remember, I was up for the role of the teacher in the first Stranger Things season. Like
I was up for a role as the mayor. I haven't seen the role come up yet. But did you ever do this? Do you ever watch like you audition for something and you didn't get it, but then it comes on TV and you watch to see who they cast as it?
Of course.
And 9 times out of 10, I go, yeah, I could see that.
Me too.
But there's that one time I go, no, I could have done that.
Harry Yules ended up playing the mayor.
Look at my face. I read for the Murdoch murder one, right? I mean, come on, dude.
Even Gail laughed at that off screen.
Honestly, like when that first happened, everyone in my life reached out and was like, "Oh, you have to play this guy." So of course they cast Jason Clarke, who didn't look like him. I didn't think, but when I saw it, I was like, "God dang, that guy is good." But I read for both brothers, which I don't look like. Unfortunately, I look like the main dude. I'd have to gain a couple pounds and become a drug addict, but I would. And then I saw Jason Clarke, and I was like, I watched the whole show, and at first I was kind of angry. I was like, I didn't get in this thing, but then I ended up loving the show, and I was like, and everybody was good. Everybody was good.
Yeah, it's weird to see what roles you could have. What would it? God Almighty! I mean, Jason? Who'd you say the mayor played the role?
Harry Yules ended up getting it.
That's funny.
I guess that I could see that. You know what?
Does your act have stuff about being a granddad now?
No, it's weird. I've been trying to. The only thing I've come up with is this idea that, like, when I would go see my grandparents, we'd get there. There's the general hi, hey, Grandpa, love me, and then we like went and played in a pile of dirt. Our grandkids show up here, and Gail has got a schedule of things every day. Miniature golf. He's 3 and she's 5. So miniature, if you're going to do this, make sure you're there the minute that place opens so that you're the first out because it takes forever. And then we went and watched, for the first time in my life, I went and saw, we were at one of those places where the jousting at the medieval times.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we did that, and that was on the schedule. And then she said, I found us a petting zoo, which literally made me almost pee my pants because let me just say, first off, the word zoo was a stretch. When I think of petting zoo, I think baby llamas, a little baby elephant. This was like 3 chickens, a donkey, and a pig.
Sheep. One baby, one lamb.
And a pig that could have been dead. I don't know. It never moved. And literally, what did they do? They went and played in the little playground. They could care less about the animals. And I was like, do we have to have something for them to do every minute of the day? I mean, I bought a bouncy house. Go play it. They love the bouncy house, and they can just go out the back door.
I've talked about that with my wife many times, and I think I think it's been studied that this generation of kids, like the reason we were so creative was because we had no choice. We were thrown out to our own devices. We overschedule our children to the point where they don't know how to be bored anymore. My daughter, when she's bored, she's like, I don't know what to do. Like, she's lost.
Does she almost like quake, like she's short circuiting when that constant like information isn't being pelted? It's crazy. It is.
Yeah. I don't know. I agree with you, Jamie, in this sense. I just don't. I think we don't. I don't know if we're scared that they're going to go do something else.
It's a different generation.
They're going to find stuff to do. Oh my God. We used to go ice skating on a farmer's pond. Nobody checked the thickness of the ice. There was not a parent there saying, well, let me just make sure this is soft. It was, and we survived.
I mean, a couple kids didn't survive, but that's,
I think that's just Darwinism. There,
telling you herd. Hey, listen, I want you to answer some questions. How often do you read for parts? I mean, I have an audition tomorrow. Like, I'll self-tape and stuff still. But I think for major parts like that, they used to be a lot more. I just think there's less shows being made, for sure. You think about like a Thursday 15 years ago on NBC, there was an 8 o'clock sitcom, an 8:30 sitcom, a 9 o'clock sitcom, a night. So there's 4 shows. That doesn't happen anymore.
No,
There's very
happen anymore.
Well, and also I think one of the issues I have with television, and I do very few anymore because I'm not in LA.
So you don't need the money, so you're fine. Don't worry.
So usually by the time if they get to me, it's like I kind of feel like I've got the job because they reached out. Like I was supposed to maybe do this. They called me about a Hallmark movie, but I think one of the issues I have with Hollywood too is they recycle actors all the time. Like, if you were on Roseanne, next time I see you, you're on Reba. It's like very few do that. They don't really break in that many new people anymore.
No, it's hard to break. Like, listen, Pedro Pascal is a wonderful actor. Does he need to be in every show that's on television?
Right.
Probably.
No.
Yeah. But I get it because they're just trying to get the job done. And I saw Carrie Coons interviewed and she's like, look, now that she goes, and she's one of the best actors on earth. And she's like, I couldn't do Broadway 5 years ago. They wouldn't hire me. They wanted a movie star. Now that I've done White Lotus, they'll hire me for Broadway. 'Cause it's a numbers game. Skill isn't everything anymore. It's about, can you get it out to your social media pages more?
I mean, they specifically, and Kayla, I've talked about this extensively. Like, they check your numbers. We lost a Disney commercial as a family because we had like 1,500 less than the other family.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's almost like when it used to be more so in the early days. When you worked a casino, the way you got booked back was they wanted to see if your audience dropped, like if they would go out and start gambling. And
of course.
Wow.
And if you didn't have a big drop, then they would hesitate to bring you back. And which, so I would tell them all the time, I go, then don't do an 8 o'clock show. Do a 6 o'clock show, and my audience will be there. They'll watch the show, then they'll go. But if you do an 8 or a 10:30 show, my audience is like coming out.
Do you know, Bill? One of my favorite times I ever opened for you was at the Stardust before it was destroyed. And so I show up to do the Stardust with you, and I meet the guy who's running the shows or whatever. And before we had done the first show, the dude gave me my pay in cash.
Yeah,
for the weekend. And I go, I don't want cash. And he goes, what are you talking about? And I knew they were giving you cash because most comics would like blow it.
And right back into the casino.
I remember one time.
I don't want cash, man. I want a check. And he was so angry at me. I was like,
yeah,
what are you doing with cash, dude? What are you
we had to make sure that happened. I was working in New Orleans one time, and I get there and they hand me a tray of $5 chips with my face on it and the show date. And I said, what do I do with these? They go, cash them in. It was like $2,000 worth of chips. I was like, okay. But now when I opened for Foxworthy, they gave him the chips. They didn't give the opening act any chips.
Randall Begins has a great question. How did you guys first meet? It's so funny. So I knew Maggie Houlihan, who worked at your agency, and you guys at that time, you guys were blowing up. I mean, I don't know if people watching really understand how big Blue Collar.
It really got big.
It was that big.
It was that big that even I think if you were to ask all of us, if you said you have to tell the honest to God truth, I think all of us would say we didn't see it getting that big. I mean, we're selling out arenas and flying.
So all the people now who are like Kill Tony and Bert Kreischer and Shane Gillis and Nate Bargatze, you guys were kind of obviously it goes back to Steve Martin, really was the first guy, I think. And then Andrew Dice Clay. But all of a sudden, Blue Collar Comedy, there was a show, Blue Collar Comedy TV.
Yeah, there was a movie.
There was a movie, Blue Collar. Then you had
it's a movie that shouldn't have been made, but it was.
Everybody had a move, and so all of a sudden, you guys were like touring, and because Maggie signed me into the company, it was me, Reno Collier, John Caparulo. We were all kind of out opening, so I opened for all four of you. I mean, I was with you by far the most, but I opened for Jeff, I opened for Larry, I opened for Ron. And it was huge. And then they tried to do Blue Collar Comedy, the next generation.
Yeah.
And they told us all, and you were the host. We were in Arizona, I think.
Yeah.
And all of us go out and they told Caparulo, they were like, dude, don't swear. Don't swear.
Yeah.
Do not swear. And he went out and he was the closer and he must have dropped a bunch of F-bombs. I was like, dude, what are you doing? Are you criminally insane? He couldn't stop swearing. And I was like, okay.
I just saw somebody ask the question. Yes, you're correct. The Kings of Comedy came out before we did.
Yes, they did.
They did. They had a really good run too. And I just think the reason Blue Collar got so big was we hit a nerve that was largely overlooked. The Midwest, South kind of, but mainly the Midwest was where we really did. I'll tell you an interesting story about, oh my God, somebody on the 5 o'clock funnies on KLOS. God, yeah, I miss Gino. Oh, he was so good for me. We were supposed to do the first Blue Collar show in Orlando, but something happened, was double booked. And so we moved out of it and moved to Omaha. And it turns out that we did the show in Omaha, and the first time we were all out, we did 9,000 people. And so then further down the tour, Orlando came up, and it was not even, the numbers were so low. And to think that if we'd have started in Orlando, it might not have gone anywhere, because they were, it was like, luckily the promoter figured out real quick this, there was areas, although we played Boston and did really well. And I got to give credit to Fox where he had the greatest line. He goes, everybody thinks rednecks are in the South. He goes, you go 20 minutes out of any big city, you got rednecks. It's not just a Southern thing. And
I'm a New Hampshire kid.
Yeah. And I think that was what we kind of all started going, yeah, okay, all right, yeah, well, we're just as good as anybody else. But I think I go back to John Caparulo, who I think is a very funny comedian.
He's the best. He's hilariously funny. But listen,
your audience.
You got to be clean. When they say be clean, you've got to be clean.
Yeah. Well, there was I remember before Larry came on the show.
Right.
Blue Collar was actually created by our manager came up with the idea, and the promoter and him got together and kind of let's see how this works. But I had a friend who's now, God bless him, passed on, but he was Craig Hawksley, who was the Larry the Cable Guy before Larry came on. And I'll never forget that Craig was always very anal about, like, if he took a cab to the arena, he wanted his cab fare right then. Right back. And I go, dude, just relax. You're going to make more money than you've ever seen in your life. A $20 cab ride is not going to kill you.
Yeah.
They'll get you your money, but he just couldn't. And I think there's guys, help me out with this, but who was the guy? There's guys that, like, if you put us in a baseball analogy, I think there's guys that are great in AAA and they bring them up to the bigs and they just can't handle it. They can't handle the pressure. They can't handle the lifestyle, everything. And I think that's what happened with Craig and with John. I think that, as much time as we told John to keep it clean, there's kids. Look in the audience. There's kids sitting out here. You're riding on a name that requires that, and but like I said, I would
mattered anyway. Honestly, it was
by
also
the way,
it was a pale sequel. You're like you're trying to recreate magic in a lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, that should never have been done in the first place. But
I thought the same thing. But I was flattered to be part of it. But it was also like, I've had a million of those.
I also think, what I think? It came out too soon.
Maybe.
They could have waited. But by the way, I heard you say, Nate, please give him my love. Tell him I said hello.
I'm doing his Nate Land. I'm going in for one night to do.
I really hope things work out for him.
We'll see how it works out.
He opened for me in Rockford, Illinois, and I remember, and I knew of his name, and he got paid $5,000, and I remember watching him going, I better be on my A game.
Yeah.
Because he was, even then when nobody knew who he was,
yep.
He was just killing it. And so I give Nate the Ultimate Comics congratulations. Everything he did, I go, God, why didn't I think of that?
I know.
He's just super nicest guy. So anyway, give him a love.
In a weird way, Bill, he's reminiscent of you, I'm more fast paced. I'm trying to get the words out, trying to get people in. You have this laid back attitude where Ron's very similar, and the bit is so strong that you can hold and let people come your way. And Bargatze,
not everybody can do that either. Like I have seen people try it, and there is a certain talent.
Well,
to
and
it.
Conversely, Jason, there's a new style called crowd work. I couldn't do that. I would be horrible at that.
That's funny.
But there's guys and girls.
That's not true, but yes.
Oh, I would.
I've seen your riff with the crowd for sure. But yes, and listen, those guys are doing crowd work. They're taking 12 minutes of crowd work and cutting it down to a 45-second. They're cherry picking and jump cutting.
Right. Yeah.
You see it live. It's like watching an improv show where you're like, that's a good bit spread out over 30 minutes. Yeah, I
will tell you this, and I've said it to Gail. I said, what I wouldn't have given to have had YouTube back when I started.
Oh man.
Because the way you got known was you just banged it out on the road. And, I couldn't, golly, to be able to, with 10 albums to be able, I could have had 2-minute bits till the eternity. And, dude, but that's also that sounds like back in my day we had.
Well, I just talked about this. I did a friend's podcast today, and I was talking. He brought me on for that crazy viral bit, right? And I wrote that in 3 minutes. I posted it, 20 million views on just Instagram alone. And I was talking to him. I go, dude, because we did Acme Comedy Theater together. We would go to Goodwill, buy wigs and costumes. We'd rehearse a 3-minute bit for 6 weeks and put it up in front of 19 people.
Yeah.
And I was like, had I been around in that day, I would have murdered it because would rent gear. I would rent a camera to try to shoot a sketch back in the day, and a sound kit and a lighting kit. And now this thing, there's going to be a whole new revolution of movies like the 70s where kids are going to tell stories on this thing alone. And they're not going to make any money. Because you can't there's no working actors anymore. There's no working class actors. You can't make back in the day when I first moved here, I had 3 commercials, 2 guest stars, and I've had a killer year. I do a commercial and make like $100,000. Those days are over. It's all social media.
Yeah. Well, you're right. And, the thing is that also, like bookers will see that viral video of yours. Don't be surprised if you don't start getting inundated with people wanting you to come play just because of one little video.
But I hope so, because I'm his opener.
But here's what happens, Bill. Most people.
Probably not a good time to tell you this, Jason. But
sorry, Jason. I already.
I know you were going to get to
him out.
No, Bill, that's the best thing about what's happened is because that happens to a lot of people who don't have the chops.
Oh yeah.
And so I feel like my only problem was I felt like I had I have a pretty good act. I'm a pretty good comic. I couldn't sell tickets because nobody knew me. So in a weird way, that video hopefully will help me sell some tickets. And then people will come and go like, oh, actually, that guy's a legit comic. Whereas most people who blow up, you go see them and you go, the fuck, this guy's never been on stage before.
Yeah.
Oh,
Or they bring,
I've seen
they
it
bring
go
6
so
opening
terribly.
acts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I mean, listen, I don't want to be the old guy any older than I already am. But yeah, I just if you just said, what would you wish for? I would love to have seen what could have happened. And I've had a great career. Trust me, I am by no means cheapening my career, but I would love to have seen what it could have been like had I had that opportunity to, and you know what? The other thing is, they may not need working actors. This AI stuff. Some kid's going to figure out how to, they probably already have that, that this character will do all this stuff. And,
Bill, I will tell you though, I mean, listen, your career speaks for itself. It's insane. But here's what I will tell you about what's happening with the social media kids coming up is you and I would we would get up and we'd write during the day and then we'd go do we'd do a show and then have a drink with a friend. And these kids, you have to, the problem with social media is it is an endless abyss that needs to be fed. My friends who have online platforms, like the guy I did the podcast today, the podcast has done well. He has a Patreon account. That's his livelihood. He used to be a radio guy where he'd just go in and talk and he'd make his nut and make really good money. He goes, I make the same amount of money, except now I work 100 times harder. I'm the writer, the director, the shooter, the editor, the poster, the social media guy.
Yeah.
He goes, it's a full-time job. And honestly, the anxiety and the pressure has been so painful. And I just remember back, the reason I got into this was because I just wanted to be funny. Yeah. I just want to be on camera. I just want to be that guy. I don't want to be the shooter, the editor.
Right.
I don't want to be that guy. But unfortunately, that's what it takes. You have to be 24/7, constantly streaming, constantly posting comments, tagging, collaborate. It's a full time.
And my big beef about it, and Jason, I'll hop in on this if you want, is I also think it's changing our attention span.
Without question.
Anything over 3 minutes, they're gone.
I don't even a lot of times even last 3 seconds. The average is 3 seconds is the skip rate, and that's
if you don't catch them in 3 seconds, they're gone.
Yeah. And as I was laughing when I was back young and I was doing shows like Pair of Jokers and Evening at the Improv, it was 3 to 5 minutes. The Tonight Show was a 6-minute spot.
Yep.
But now it's like. I watch my daughter and my son-in-law, and they're just clicking through. And it's like, I don't know what it's got. Because if you said, Bill, do a 2-minute joke, I'd be like, dude, my setup is 2 minutes.
Yeah, I know. You can't.
I wonder what it's going to do to the storytellers of this business, like people like myself and like Ron and stuff. Because I think we'll get some, but I think some people will be like, all right, let's go. What else you got? Come on. What? And so it's like,
what I'm seeing with
I think Bargatze's a great example. Bargatze, he takes his time. And I think there are people, I think it's just one of those things where it's like, it either works or it doesn't. But I think you're right that it's hard. Like I'll watch an old movie from the 70s I loved. And even now I'm like, was it this slow back then? But it was. And we're changing. Our attention span's changing for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Without question.
Yeah.
Well, and I noticed like a lot of times where storytelling comedians now, they try to hook them early with like some sort of the way they edit it, and then they jump to the full story.
Well, you know what? That pickleball story is an exact example of it. I get their attention by saying there's a disease that's taking out half of us.
Yeah.
And so automatically now they're like, what? And then you hit them with it's pickleball and they all fall in line. But yeah, it's a fascinating field. And I'm honored and humbled that I got to be a major player in it. And that I've had the ability to work with people, meet people that, I never would have in my lifetime, never got to do it. And it's it's one of those. I hope really with all my heart that the integrity of comedy continues to be saved. That we don't fall out. Do you know what I'm saying? Is that it doesn't become like this? Like, how quick can I can only keep your attention for 2 minutes. I hope, I look back at, Bob Newhart and all these guys, even Dangerfield, even though he was a rapid fire, it was just one long story that just was peppered with 10,000 jokes.
It's definitely changing, but I mean, you think about comedy in general. I remember when I first moved to town and I was doing a set maybe at the Laugh Factory, and Tom Dreesen got up. And, he was doing his act from like opening for Sinatra or whatever.
Right.
And I could see the jokes, but the audience wasn't digging it because comedy had changed. Pryor had come along, and all of a sudden, like, it just morphs. And if you see a video now, a lot of times they don't even do a setup. It's jump cuts of punchlines of like, here's every mom at the checkout. And all of a sudden it's like, ding. And it's like 20 cuts of just punchlines of like, here's my coupons. How much is that? And that's the joke.
Yeah. And you know what that means? That the art of the segue is going to die. It's already dying.
It's dude. They jump cut now. Jump cuts used to be, you couldn't jump cut in a movie. Ahead in the scene, that would be verboten. And now everything is, they take the air out between you talking. Like, if you pause and then start talking, when they edit it, they'll
cut the air. Yeah, you're right. They do that.
So it's like, if you pause, they'll cut the air out of it.
Those are wasted seconds that you could scroll to the next video. So they get rid of them.
It's got to come back, because at some point you're like, how much faster can the attention span go? It's crazy.
Well, someone had written something. I just saw it on there that they were talking about and I actually read this in an article, that television commercials are geared to the third grade mind, which I think is fascinating, that we can't buy a product unless a lizard tells us we should buy a car insurance, or a box tells us when we need to go get a colon exam. And, if there's not some little crazy cartoon character, it's like, and I take that back to the old cereal days, when, the cereals had no vitamins, do you remember Sugar Crisps?
Oh, yeah.
Of course. I love Sugar Crisps.
That's when your parents have just given up. It's like on the box, his hat says sugar. And it didn't say vitamin D, B. It's like sugar. I remember
Joe Camel. What about Joe Camel? Look at me. I'm a camel. I'm smoking cigarettes.
Remember the Flintstones had a cigarette commercial even.
That's right. Fred smoked with Barney.
Did you have you ever done this? Have you ever been watching TV and you see a commercial and you literally out loud go, "Oh my God." Yes. Really?
Yes.
It's like I just keep going back to when I watched Idiocracy. I keep thinking, "Oh my God, it's happening! It's happening!"
You mean when Tom Selleck tries to tell me that a reverse mortgage might be right for me? You're like, yeah.
At least he's a human. It's not like there's a little toadstool going, "Hey, your parents ought to reconsider refinancing this house."
You mean the toe fungus guy, the little toe fungus character?
Yeah,
Look at me, I'm toe fungus, and you're like, no.
Or the ball of snot.
Oh, you're the Mucinex guy?
Mucinex guy. Oh.
That's the guy I meant. I meant Mucinex. Yeah.
I don't know.
Dude, listen, we got to wrap, but I am so glad to hear you're back out.
Thank you, bud. Good luck, Mr. 20 million views.
Yeah. I'm sure it's going to change my life extensively. This is my big break.
It's going to be like the light on an airplane. Ladies and gentlemen, please fasten your seatbelts, because you never know what's going to happen.
Here we go.
And I hope it does, brother. You've worked hard in this business. You deserve it. I hope you get everything you want.
I want to come out and do a gig with you. So when you start popping out, come on, I'm coming out. I want to see the new act. I can't wait to see, because listen, we've talked so much over the years, and I know you're in a place in your life that is so ripe with material that you can dig into, whether it's the whales or especially the grandparent stuff. Because before you came on, I was talking to Jason about, and I think maybe you might have heard it, but out of all the guests we've ever had, you are by far the
By
best
far.
actual advice that we've gotten as parents came
Oh,
from
wow.
you.
Well, thank you. I
Your
learned it from my wife.
knowledge you share about being a parent. So maybe that is a theme for you to be, you know, I don't want to tell people how to live life, but here's a pretty good way to parent.
Or how about this one? When you have grandkids, you can only discipline so much because they're not your kids. And your kids have all of a sudden forgotten that we raise kids. I raised you. You know, it was like, I know what to do. But, you know, it's like, well, we don't really, and they do things a lot better than I did. You know, they're more parents. I hope it doesn't backfire, but you know, like my little grandkids, my daughter, like Cody will be melting down. And she's got these kids now where if they start having a meltdown, they will literally look at her and go, I need some privacy. And they'll go to their room. I don't know how she did it, but I was like, that I wasn't amazed of. But yeah, I'm gonna work on the grandkid angle of it.
I think that's kind of funny too, because a lot of times people will go, oh, I can't leave my kids with my parents. And part of me is like, well, they raised you. What are you talking about?
What do you
But
think?
sometimes people are like, oh, my dad couldn't possibly watch my kids. I go, he watched you. I'm so confused by what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
I know with our autistic twins, there are not a lot of people that can handle watching our kids. Like it takes a special SWAT team to get them back reined in.
That's funny, dude. All right, listen, we got to roll.
Love you guys, man. Thanks for having me.
I love you, dude. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Engvall, get out of here. I'll hit you later. Dude, this was amazing. We haven't done this in a long time. It was super fun.
It was super fun. I've missed it.
I know.
And next week we'll figure out how to get the TikTok crew in here. I see a lot of you were watching on Instagram. Hi, everybody on Instagram.
Hey, everybody!
So
oh my gosh! Oh, I didn't even see that on Instagram. Oh my gosh, there was a lot of people.
Yes, there's a ton of people. They've been commenting this whole time, but I can't.
I can't see those. Those comments are only on Instagram, right?
Correct. Yes, we're gonna have to have producer Ben sit in and
now I'm seeing all the comments. Okay.
Yeah, there's tons of them. So you guys, we'll be back. I love that you guys were all here. We had a huge audience tonight. You guys are the first timers, but make sure we're gonna be doing more of these. And
I love it. Fun. All right, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time here in the Parents Lounge.
Good night, everybody.